This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
Rooker, it's a fly ball to deep center. Robert going back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Dolis Garcia sends him the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the line. Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season. Julio with an absolute nuke out to left field.
It's Glaber Day. And like a good Glaber, Torres is there.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe. From humidors to Stuff Plus to walk-off dingers, we have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live as we're getting you ready for the Athletics and the Rangers. First pitch coming up here at 1 o'clock. We got a great show for you. Jim Callis, who is the king of prospects. MLB Pipeline. He was recently on MLB Network with BK. Brian Kenny as MLB Network previewed the Athletics. Obviously, we didn't get to see our guys playing the spring breakout game, but we'll get Jim Callis to update us on his thoughts on the A's top 30 and our top prospects. Jared Sandler, broadcaster for the Rangers, will join us at noon. I was talking to him at Mike Farron's party this past Sunday, and he was one of the ones I was talking about how being partners with the Dow, or not partners, being in the same, let's just say, location as the Dallas Cowboys, as the Texas Rangers are, is not an easy proposition.
Makes sense.
Then Johnny Doskow will be here we haven't seen the Rangers yet during one of our shows.
No, it's
the world champs.
They look a little different. No DeGrom, no Scherzer, no Montgomery, Corey Seager. Team looks a lot different, but we're going to see Wyatt Langford hopefully play today. Uber prospect that everyone's really excited about.
Wyatt.
He's a great name.
Wyatt Langford. There couldn't be a better team for Wyatt Langford than the Texas Rangers.
No, I completely agree.
Wyatt, I have no idea. Where's he from? Where's Wyatt from?
We played at Florida. Let's see where he's from, though.
It's got Cowboy written all over it. How you doing? I'm Wyatt.
He's according to Wikipedia, born in Gainesville, Florida.
All right, that's not
Makes
doing
sense.
much for us. But it's Wyatt Earp, right? It's got Cowboy written all over. As Logan O'Hoppe has, let's start a Irish pub. There's got to be kind of some type of sponsorship you can get going with Wyatt as a Texas Ranger.
Got a great television show, Walker, Texas Ranger. Chuck Norris.
Seriously. Could you have a better name as a Texas as a Ranger than Wyatt?
Only can bring back Nolan.
There's
Ryan.
a new sheriff in town.
Yeah, move over Nolan. It's not Wyatt.
Yeah, it's not Wyatt. Wyatt's the new sheriff in town. I don't know why I got into that, but Johnny D will be joining us towards the end of the show.
Know your Rangers.
There is a lot actually going on. Blake Snell has signed. That is the biggest story, but I'd actually like to do some quick housekeeping. Can I do some quick housekeeping for everybody out there?
Yeah, let's get it done.
I just got this sent to me by CBS, and let's just get this out of the way so we know going into the season what in the hell is going on here. And I think that line has been said in quite a few movies.
Yeah.
What in the hell is going on here? Pitch clock tweak. We're going to quickly go over the rules. What is going on? Greatest thing in the world. Well, one of the greatest things in the world, the pitch clock. I had to laugh at Johnny the other day on the broadcast. I said, you baseball dinosaurs, 10 years ago, there'll never be a clock in baseball. Baseball can't be timed. Remember that? Remember what they used to say? Oh, we timed it, and we sped your asses up. Games now are 240. I think it was like really 239 something. They rounded it up. They decreased the length of games by 24 minutes. That means you people, and I do mean you people, for 24 minutes, almost a half hour, we're doing nothing. If we put a stopwatch right now and just put a half hour and said, all right, everybody, don't do anything for a half hour, how uncomfortable would you get? If we all just sat here and looked at each other for a half hour and did nothing, didn't move, don't go to the bathroom, do nothing. It'd be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I would say so.
That's basically what was going on. Half hour of standing around doing nothing. Because that's a great thing about other sports. There's always stuff going on. That gets back to we take guys out they can't re-enter. Every other sport, there's always guys coming on and off the field, on and off. On the ice, we have shifts constantly going on the ice. Shifts. Basketball. Guys checking in, checking out, checking in, checking out. There's people moving. There's movement. In baseball, we had 24 minutes of what? Where'd it go? What do we miss? Where did that 24 minute? And we could probably speed it up even faster.
I would say a lot of guys standing around, readjusting batting gloves, things like that.
I mean, the pitcher's probably moving, catcher's moving, but everybody else just kind of standing around. So we got rid of that. Well, the pitch clock's getting faster, folks. So pay attention. No runners on base. Pitchers now have 15 seconds to throw their next pitch. You got 15.
That's what it was last year.
That was 18.
It's 15 and 18. I thought it was 15 and 20.
Oh, yeah, same as the 2023.
Yeah. They changed it, I think, with the guys on.
The change is 18 seconds to throw your next pitch versus 20. Speed it up.
Get that 2 seconds. How long until we get a guy complaining, man, I really had to adjust from that extra 2 seconds.
And it's about training. It's like you're training dogs, right? You got to train. So you want guys to always be thinking, all right, let's speed it up. Catcher, speed it up. Let's go. 18 seconds is plenty of time to figure out what happens in the post. Remember but what about in the World Series? You can't do it in the postseason. Do they do it in the postseason?
Yeah.
Was there a World Series champion?
Yes.
The A's are playing them today. Did it work out? Were the Diamondbacks and the Rangers able to play the World Series?
I think they got by okay.
So, like in other sports where the clocks are all the same in the Super Bowl as they are in the regular season. So if they can do that in football or basketball or hockey, I think we can do it. And you know what? We did it. Unbelievable. We kept the same structure from the regular season to the postseason, and it worked. Our own broadcasters at one point, I remember, were questioning it. I don't know about the postseason. It worked. It absolutely worked. Who knew? All right, so there's the big change right there. We're going to go from 20 to 18. Hitters will now have more room when they're trying to beat out an infield single in 2024. MLB has widened the runner's lane between home plate and first base, and it now includes the dirt between the foul line and infield grass. I mean, how many times do we have that dispute where he can be? Going to give him a little more room. Big thing, catcher's got to get out of the way. First baseman's got to be over. Boop, hit the target. I know it's tough, but you can't expect a runner. I've always agreed with this. I mean, to have a runner be on just this straight B line. It just doesn't work that way. So there's going to be a little more wiggle room. The previous rule required a batter to run the last half of the distance between home plate and first base between the foul line and the 3-foot line drawn in the right-hand side of the dirt. Under the new rule, the runner's lane will be chalked in order to keep runners from drifting too far. That's onto the grass. That was ridiculous. Too far into foul territory. Well, that's foul territory. Also in territory. How many times do you see guys cutting in?
Yeah.
That would be the big problem. Because you got to have allow the catcher, as I said. First baseman's catcher's got to get his lane. Boom. On plays in which the ball's in foul territory, such as a drop third strike, but instead of forcing the runner to be in foul territory, the runner will now be deemed in compliance with the rules as long as both feet remain on the dirt between home and first. Who's the manager that brought the tablet to the press conference?
Oh, I remember this.
Davey Martinez.
Yeah, the Nationals
brought it. And he brought it and he showed it. I mean, the runner was on the infield grass and he's showing it, if I remember that correctly. All right, mound visits. This is great. Every team will have 4 mound visits per game with their pitchers down from 5. How many mound visits do you really need?
Yeah. Was it 4 down from 5? I mean, are we really? No one's. Hopefully, nobody complains about the one being taken away.
I mean, how many times do you need to really go out? How many times do we need to see somebody who's not playing in the game, dressed in a uniform, walk out slowly to the mound?
Because it takes time watching that guy walk out to the mound. Especially, no offense, but we're playing the Rangers today. I mean, do we need to see Boch walk out and?
Bruce Bochy with the bad hips. Well, his hits are remade, right? He's got new hips, new knees, but he's got that walkout, and Boch has got to walk. I mean, how many times do we need to see that? The pitching coach take his time to come out. How often do we really need to see that?
I think we really do.
And then we got to cover our mouth. I mean, dude, the whole thing's ridiculous. We should get rid of all mound visits. They should all be gone. You want to change the pitcher? Yell out to the umpire. Give me the righty. You don't need to walk out, but he needs time to warm up. If you didn't call down in time to strategize, call down in time and get your guy warmed up, that should be on you. You should be able to look at how the game's going. I got a guy in trouble. We give you a damn phone. You don't even have to yell down there. We give you a phone to call to the bullpen. Get so-and-so up. No mound visits. We should have 0. But what if we got to talk defenses? What sport is there where you're able to slowly walk out to the play of field, stop play completely, gather everybody, and have a little powwow, and then slowly walk back? Well, in basketball, we have timeouts where guys will come. Football, we have timeouts, but guys come to the sidelines. Hockey, you can call a timeout.
You get one, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But really, we have to time, and we got to stop everything, and we got to walk out, and we got really? And think about basketball. I mean, these are 30-second timeouts. Do the stopwatch. It takes 15 to 20 seconds for these coaches to walk out to the mound. Man, basketball, you got the 30-second timeout. It's 30 seconds. That's all you got. Our guy slowly walks out, slowly walks back. I would be for no mound visits.
That's why I love when Emo goes out, because he jogs out, jogs back in. He's one of the only guys I know jogs. Everyone else just walks.
So it's going to be 4 mound visits versus 5, and then batters faced, the requirement will still have the 3-batter minimum, which, oh, by the way, I don't even notice.
Yeah, the only time I ever see it is like whenever a guy comes in and pitches just that get the final out of an inning, and then he's gone. But that doesn't happen as much as it used to.
I mean, you really don't even notice that rule. And then the greatest rule in the history of sports, I debate this with people all the time, and whether you don't like it or not, sit on it. The extra inning rule with the runner starting on second base. The guy who got out, or if you're going to do a pinch runner, but the guy that got out that ended the last inning will start the runner on second to keep us from going 16 innings and 4.5, 5 hours, burning our bullpens for the rest of the week. Gets us all home at a regular time. I've told people forever, the data doesn't support you. If you look at the stadium, nobody's left. Nobody's left in the stadium. If you look at the television ratings, they've dropped to nothing, and the radio ratings have dropped to nothing. So these people that say we love these long extra innings games, well, there's not a lot of you because no one's either watching, listening, or there. The data shows that. So who does it benefit? I love it. I love it when it goes 16 innings. And you're like, well, the data doesn't show that the average fan likes it because they don't participate. So why is this good for business? So Amelia Schimmel's happy? I love extra innings. Well, the rest of the people don't because they got to get up and go to work the next day. So the extra innings rule is great. The one thing they don't have in here is the new rule of a new inning starts a batter comes out, you got to face that batter. So if I'm a pitcher and I go out and I warm up and then they announce a hitter, whoever they announce hitter, you then cannot come out and take me out. I got to face that hitter.
No, I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, because we talked about it at a San Jose State football game. What they don't want you to do is you go out, you take your warm-up pitches, they throw the ball around, you get on the mound, the team announces the hitter, and then you come out back and take out the pitcher, and now we're going back to another commercial break.
Oh, yeah, okay. That makes sense then, why they
right?
do that, yeah.
So if you are a pitcher and you go out there and warm up to start an inning, and they announce whoever the hitter, could be a guy that was supposed to come up or a pinch hitter, you've got to face that guy. So we're going to keep it from guy warms up, you come out of commercial break, we now announce this guy's going to hit, and now here comes the slow walk out, and now we're going to a back-to-back commercial break. Smart. Because that's, once again, we're trying to keep you interested.
Yeah.
We're trying to keep you, we're trying to make this thing more of a fast pace, society has changed, right? Society has absolutely changed. This whole, I want to sit there for 3.5 hours. Everybody found out this isn't good. The longer it goes, the less action, the less that this thing called a baseball is put into play. And the less we see great athletes doing great things, it's not good for the entertainment side of the game. Everything of these rules, and I know people don't like change, but every one of these rules is to bring you more action. And what was the one argument? Well, I don't want less baseball. And it's like, wait a minute. Is the game still 9 innings? Yes. Is it still 27 outs? Yes. So how are you getting less baseball? How did you equate speeding guys up? That's all they're doing is speeding you up. We're not taking away at-bats. We're not taking away innings. We're just speeding you up.
Correct. Yeah, there's nothing. It's not like we actually put a full-on clock and it speeds the game up completely where you have
it's not like all of a sudden 10 o'clock, game's over. Well, wait, we're in the 7th inning. No, we didn't do that. We're just making you go faster. We're making you more productive in your work day, right? I mean, if you're a boss out there, do you want employees to sit around all day long and don't get stuff done? No, you want them working. Let's go. Let's speed this thing up. But you didn't lose any baseball. We have the same amount of outs. We have the same amount of innings. The things haven't changed. We're just making you do it at a more reasonable pace because you guys became slugs, and we have to speed you up. All right, that's the housekeeping you want to get to. Those are the new rules. There you go. Man, this has been a bad offseason for players. This has been a really bad, and I'm fearful, I really am, of what this is going to do or where this is leading to. But we talked about it on this show after the last CBA that this is brewing. You think it's a war between the players and the owners, and it's really not. If you really get into it, it's a war that's brewing between the owners. And the players will be a factor in this. So I told you about that great A's fan that I met in the lobby of the hotel while I was down there and we had the long conversation. And one of the things that when you talk to people and you explain stuff, because right now, whether we're talking about what's going on with the A's, whether you're talking with baseball, you're getting a lot of opinions, and you don't really get all the factual information. So I gave him an example. The Philadelphia Phillies. The USA Today did a long article on the Phillies owner saying he's all in, he wants to win. And I explained it to this A's fan. I said, do you realize, give me the Phillies payroll from last year. I'm going to say the Phillies payroll was around $215 million.
It was.
Could be wrong.
With everything, it was 256.
Okay. But that's 40 man.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Right? That's bigger than that's everything.
Yeah, included everything. But their 2023 tax threshold is 233. It looks like
233. Okay, whatever it is. I have 215, 233.
Yeah, their active payroll is 218. They're at from last year.
Thank you. 218. So now you as an A's fan will look at that, and other baseball fans will look at that, and you'll say, this guy's all in. Look, they're paying their stars. They're all in. So this is why I told this A's fan. And I use the Phillies as an example because since we're an NBC, part of the NBC family, we know the Phillies television contract is $250 million. Wait, what? The Phillies, before they play baseball, before they throw a pitch, have a game, sell a jersey at a game, merch, beer, hot dog, parking space, foam finger, cotton candy, sausage, pizza. Before they sell anything at a game, NBC goes, here, guys, here's a check for $250 million. But that payroll was $218. Wait, what? That's right. His television contract for this all-in owner covers all of his salaries. So is he really as all-in as you think he is? He's not. He's got freebie TV money. That's the dirty little secret. Right? What you perceive as all-in, maybe not as all-in as you think it is. Because he's like the NFL. The TV money covers all the players' salaries. That's why they're brilliant and their salary cap works, and it works great. But a team like the Phillies, you'll applaud the owner and say he's all in, but yet his salaries are all paid for by television. And the rest he puts right in his pocket. Well, the Pirates don't have that. Padres don't have that. We clearly saw that with the Padres. Padres lost their TV deal, which was only helping all those salaries. And what happened when the Padres spent way above their means?
They had to cut half the guys.
Major losses, cut people, trade Juan Soto. This doesn't work. So that's where we're going in this sport is you've got like the Dodgers. Oh, the Dodgers spent $1.2 billion. The Dodgers got like a $300-something million a year TV contract. They can spend whatever the hell they want. It's covered by TV. So before they sell a Dodger dog, before they sell a beer, before they sell anything, the television covers everything and the rest just goes in their pocket. So stop with the they're all in crap. If the Dodgers or the Phillies TV contract was $67 million, they wouldn't be spending $200 million. That's just the way it is. So that's where this thing's brewing. Blake Snell getting a 2-year deal by the Giants, that's a 1-year opt-out. Just like Matt Chapman, it's a 1-year deal.
Essentially same with Bellinger.
I mean, the San Francisco Giants, you know how I feel about them. I'm not rooting for them. Ever. I wish nothing but bad things on them. But I'm going to give the Giants some credit. The Giants showed patience. And the Giants basically got Matt Chapman, Blake Snell for 1 year. What do they care? I didn't have to sign these guys to 7 years, 8 years. Nope, 1 year. These are 1-year deals. Don't let them fool you. 2 years it's a 1 year. There's a signing bonus. There's 1 year. He's going to opt out if he plays well. You're basically renting his services for a year.
I was just going to say, I think the physical schedule for Blake Snell, when has a physical ever gone wrong for the Giants?
Huh?
When has a physical ever gone wrong for the Giants before? His physicals today.
Oh, wow. You're bringing up the Correa?
Wait, I'm going to wait and see if he passes, but I'm sure he will.
Too soon?
I think
Did Blake Snell have a injury in the minor leagues to his ankle?
Not that I know
that
of.
The Giants doctors are going to be like, I don't know, man.
He threw in front of scouts the other day, so clearly the Giants were impressed.
The Giants escaped that. But this is brilliant. Farhan, brilliant. I'm getting the NL Cy Young Award winner on another prove it deal.
Yeah, so that's what it is.
So if Blake Snell wants to get comfortable and go back to throwing 130 innings like he normally does, Blake Snell needs to come out and throw 180 plus again. And I don't know how he's going to do it because Blake Snell's not going to be ready for the start of the year. But you're the Giants. You're like, I got him for a year. We already know you're going to opt out. Fine, Boras. If you guys want to make this look somewhat better so we can say 2 years, 62 or whatever, and let's Susan Slessor has confirmed what's already been confirmed, correct?
Yeah, it was confirmed.
So she confirmed what's already been confirmed.
Well, Giants publicly haven't announced the deal yet.
So is anybody else going to confirm what's already been confirmed? That was confirmed. That was broken.
Not until later when they
have we confirmed it. Have we caught? Do you want me to text Bo Mel?
I mean, Snell is his guy.
And then I'll go out on X. I'm confirming what's been confirmed. What's been confirmed that was broken.
I think we'll get the official Giants release once he passes the physical.
Okay. Oh,
which is supposed to be today. I read.
Whoa. But you got Matt Chapman, which let me ask you. You want J.D. Davis or Matt Chapman?
Or if you go off of last year.
Do you go off last year?
Don't talk about the hard hit rate with Chapman.
Matt Chapman after the first month, the next 5 months, Matt Chapman hit 206.
Offensively, I'd probably take Davis, but defense, Chapman.
I'm not going to embarrass myself. Matt Chapman is literally one of the greatest defensive third basemen in the history of baseball.
I'm not playing homer, but I think if you look at the batting, they're pretty similar. You probably give the edge to Chapman because of the defense, but I mean J.D. Davis.
Okay, but Chapman
prove it deal this
Chapman
year.
played. You call it the Rogers Center. I call it the Sky Dome. He played in a offensive friendly ballpark. J.D. Davis played his games. You call it Oracle. I call it Pac Bell.
Not SBC Global or
AT&T, SBC Global, right? I mean, to be fair,
well, then they moved.
I'll play a little homer on this. J.D. Davis had to play 81 games in San Francisco where it's freezing cold and the ball didn't travel. Matt Chapman's playing in a dome in a homer-happy ballpark.
To be fair, didn't they move the wall back a little bit at Rogers Center?
They had they moved how the wall works.
It helped create more doubles at Rogers Center.
J.D. Davis, who had more? How many? Chapman had 17 bombs.
I think JD had
more bomb.
I think JD had 18.
And
year.
Chapman had 17.
Yeah, 18 for Davis, and I think Chapman did have 17. Davis hit 248, and Chapman hit 240. Now the wars are skewed.
And Chapman's 240 is all based off hitting 372 in the first month.
Yeah,
we followed it. We were following it, and it's like, yeah. But back to the Giants, I'll give them. You got to give them credit, right? They just showed ultimate pace. Everybody, essentially, if Scott Boras was a card player in Vegas, he doesn't have money to get home. He lost his shorts this offseason. If he was going for the World Series of Poker and he's one of those guys he's won the bracelet before, he walked in big ball and shot calling, and he is leaving Vegas with his tail between his legs. Scott Boras got used and abused this offseason. Probably, I don't know his entire career. He's been doing it longer than I've been active in this business. And I've been active a long time, but I can't imagine there's ever been a year where Scott Boras has looked this bad.
And two of his big guys are still unsigned: JD Martinez and Jordan Montgomery.
Cody Bellinger's deal is a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
All these guys that he had, we were at the winter. You got to remember why we talk about this stuff all the time is because, remember, we do this year round. Remember, we were in Nashville at the winter meetings and all that. Is Jim there?
Yeah, he's here.
And all this big talk about what these guys were going to get. And now you got Cody Bellinger, you got Blake Snell, and you got Matt Chapman on all 1-year prove-it deals. Let's get Jim on. Jim, A's Cast Live, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Let's just start with that. I mean, you've been around this game a long time. I mean, you just have the reigning Cy Young Award winner basically sign a 1-year prove-it deal. Matt Chapman, his deal's a 1-year prove-it deal. Cody Bellinger's is a 1-year. I mean, it's this offseason, just how crazy is it? These players that we were talking $200 million, 8 to 10 years, and these guys are all getting 1 year basically. They're going to be deals that look like they're bigger than that, but they're all basically 1 year opt-outs, and these guys are going to be back in free agency next year. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes to show you how punitive the luxury tax is for some of these clubs. I'm not saying the Yankees couldn't afford it, but I was just reading, if the Yankees paid paid Blake Snell $30 million a year, it would cost him like $60 or $63 million a year. And you just have a bunch of teams that apparently don't want to cross certain thresholds. So, yeah, I mean, it's not been a good winter for the players unless you're signing with the Dodgers, I guess, for the most part, or the Phillies.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Well, you were in our camp. Unfortunately, we didn't get to have our spring breakout game against the Giants. It started raining, then the thunder and lightning came, which is very rare for Arizona. And our game got canceled. So I was supposed to be on the call of the game. It was a little disappointing, but you were in our camp. You got to see it. We saw you. Great job on MLB Network. Your takeaways leaving Hohokam and Fitch Park and leaving the A's system, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, if people are A's fans, you're looking towards the future more than the present right now. I mean, and there are some interesting guys. I had a good time catching up with Mason Miller. It's interesting that they're going to try to make him a reliever this year just to keep him healthy. I mean, I've lost track of the number, but I think he got to the big leagues and he had pitched less than 30 innings in the minor leagues in his career because he just moved so quick and he had some injury issues and then was hurt a little bit. But I think that's interesting. They may make him a starter going forward. I know there's a lot of excitement about Darryl Hernandez, who isn't, it's not like it's, unbelievable power, unbelievable speed, but he just hits and he plays the game so well. And I haven't checked back recently, but it seems like he's got a pretty good chance to make the team, doesn't it? We'll see how that shakes out. But I think that you're going to see Darryl Hernandez if he doesn't make the opening day roster. I think at some point you're going to see him in the A's lineup this year. And I got to see Jacob Wilson play an inter-squad game. I did not get to see Luis Morales pitch. I got to see Denzel Clark in an inter-squad game. But yeah, I mean, the A's do have some interesting young players in their system.
Yeah, it's funny. A guy that I played college baseball with is Denzel Clark's agent. And you hear, and obviously WBC with Canada last year, you hear people say he's one of the best athletes they've ever seen. We're waiting to see it. We're waiting to get to see it. What did you see?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's correct. I mean, it's a really nice power speed combination in a 6'5", 220-pound package. He had I think it was a shoulder injury last year that cost him the last couple months of the season. But yeah, if you can keep this guy, I think he's super interesting. He's not a guy who's played a lot of baseball. When he came out of college, Long Beach. Is it Long Beach State? Well, where would he come? It's not Long Beach State, but I know it's a Big West school, and for some reason, the school, Cal State Northridge, is what I'm trying to say. He came out of Cal State Northridge, and coming off of he had the COVID year in 2020, and then 2021, the Big West played a reduced schedule, so he didn't really play a lot of college baseball as most college players. So I think there's room for a lot of growth here. And an addition player in the system. I mean, Jacob Wilson, he's going to hit. I mean, the bat-to-ball skills are elite. But when you're talking about, impact power, speed on the bases, defense and center field, I think Jacob Wilson's got the highest floor, but Denzel Clark's got the highest ceiling.
It's interesting you mentioned Jacob Wilson and the bat-to-ball and just watching him play. I got to do a couple of games in spring where he started, and there was one game over at Camelback against the Dodgers, and gets up there, rips the ball into right field. He makes the plays at short. As you're doing the game, you don't think, oh, this guy was just picked out of Grand Canyon. I mean, he fit right in immediately. We had him on this show, and we joked with him, hey, are you sizing everybody up right now, saying, my future job is going to be here? Because Jim, the one thing when you're a number one pick out of college, we try and say it on the show all the time, and I'll let you explain a little better, is we don't expect you to be in the minor leagues a long time. If you're a legit guy and you're out of college it shouldn't take you too long, especially on a team like the A's and an organization like the A's.
Yeah, I don't think he will be in the minors too long. I mean, he just goes to show. I know sometimes you talk to people and you talk about bloodlines and sports, and I actually think they matter more in baseball than any other sport, because I think while athleticism matters, obviously, maybe I think if you look at the NFL and NBA, athleticism is key. And while it matters in baseball, I think it's skill development. You could swing the bat really hard. It doesn't mean you're going to make contact. You could throw the ball really hard. It doesn't mean you're going to throw strikes. It's about reps. And he grew up around the game. His dad, Jack, was an all-star and obviously was taught to hit at a very young age. And his bat to ball skills are right there with anybody's in the minor leagues. I think that the two questions that it's going to determine whether he's merely like a good big league player or a star is A, how much power is he going to have? Is he going to be a 10, 12, 15 home run guy, or could he be 20 or more? And does he stay at shortstop, or is he is he an average shortstop, or is he better than that and stays there, or does he slide over to second base? But he can really, really hit. And I don't think there's really too much to work on with his game, to be honest with you. I think he's a fairly fully formed prospect. So I bet you see him in Oakland before the end of the year.
My comp for Mason Miller right now is Jason Isringhausen, a guy that Billy Beane brought over years ago from the New York Mets. And I remember the Jason Isringhausen was a part of, the big three that they had there. Was it Pulsiver and Wilson?
Wilson.
Yeah.
Wilson.
Generation K, I believe, was the name that they had. And they all couldn't stay healthy. And Billy Beane goes out, gets him. Next thing you know, he's an all-star closer. He's now in the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Yeah, like you said, Mason Miller could be a starter, but right now, would you say that's a fair comp right now? Isringhausen, what Mason Miller could be?
Yeah, I mean, big-bodied guy, overpowering fastball, pretty good slider. Yeah, and his whole story is amazing. Like, he began his career at Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, Division III school. I literally had never heard of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania before. And he didn't do much. He had like an ERA over 7 for a couple of years. And they got diagnosed with diabetes, and they got him on a better diet, and he got a lot stronger. He gained about 50 pounds, over the course of a couple of years, started throwing a lot harder, transferred to Gardner-Webb as a graduate student, in part because he was pursuing, I think it was an MBA. Like, he liked their MBA program. He could have gone to some bigger schools, pitched really well at the combine. And no, I mean, it's wipeout stuff. I mean, I've seen him hit 100 in the fall league in short stints. I mean, the slider's really nasty. He just hasn't stayed healthy in pro ball very much. And so I like this move. And look, you'd like everybody to be a starter, but if he doesn't last as a starter and he winds up being a closer or a dynamic setup man, those are valuable too. So yeah, to me, the interesting thing about it is this isn't necessarily a permanent move. They just want to keep him as healthy as possible and get him regular innings and keep him healthy the whole year. And then I think they'll evaluate at the end of 2024 and see where they want to go from there.
All right, only one more on the A's because I want to get around to some other guys in baseball. But just someone who covers the minor leagues the way you do and the prospects the way you do, it is a really tough dance for the front office who doesn't have long-term contracts, manager and a staff that doesn't have long-term contracts. As you mentioned, so much is about the future, new ballpark, all of that. It is so tough for how do you deal with the now versus how do you deal with the future? Just talk about that dance that so many organizations have to deal with about trying to win now, but what's best for the future. There's a lot of uncomfortable, not easy decisions, especially when people's jobs are on the line.
Yeah, although I think you got to give the A's credit because they have good people working for them. From David Forrest on down, Billy Owens has been there a long time. Eric Kubota, the scouting director, has been there a long time. Ed Sprague's their farm director. And, I've seen situations where you have a big league team that's not very good, and it's going to take a while to rebuild. And it's easier to make like a shorter term decision to get a guy to the big leagues quicker or trade for a guy who maybe has a lesser ceiling, but he's going to get there quicker. So you can say, hey, look, we got something. This is working. And I don't think the A's are doing that. I think all those guys from David on down are operating. I mean, look, a lot of those guys have worked there for a long time too. but I think they're operating on the sense of
long time.
Let's do what's best for the franchise. Not so much, hey, we got to show some short-term improvement or we might get fired. So, which is, I mean, that's a good thing. You don't want people, and again, I've seen it. You see it sometimes in the draft where, like, you hear like a GM or a scouting director be like, well, I'm going to take a guy who can help us quicker because if I take a high school kid, I might not be here when he's ready for the big leagues. Or, we're going to get the guy who's going to help us faster because we need some tangible results. Well, I mean, I think there's a team in the American League West whose owner prioritizes getting guys to the big leagues quickly, and they're getting guys to the big leagues quickly. But I don't know how good their big league team is.
I think we know exactly who that is. Do we have the rally monkey around? I know we have the Shohei Ohtani, the old Shohei Ohtani as an angel. Jackson Churio, he is going to be on the Brewers. He got that big contract. I want to say it's around $82 million.
With a couple options. Like if the Brewers pick up the options, it goes into 9 figures. Yeah, $82 million, I think, for 8 years before he made his big league debut.
They love this guy. How do you like the way this business is going where now we're giving guys money that have never performed yet at the big league level?
Well, I think it's a smart business move, especially by a team. We're not talking about the Dodgers or the Yankees here. It's a mid-level franchise to be able to keep this guy for a long time. And if you go back and you look at a lot of these deals, 2 things I'd say. One, I get why the players sign them, because if Jackson Churio doesn't sign this deal, he makes minimum salary or a little bit above the minimum for 3 years, and he's arbitration eligible. It's 6 years before he really gets paid what he's worth. And so I get why he signs a deal, but the Brewers could come out way ahead on this deal. Like if Jackson Churio is as good as we think he's going to be, it could wind up saving them, tens of millions of dollars. And I think the history of most of these contracts that the teams have signed, going back to when the then Cleveland Indians were doing it with Albert Bell and guys back in the 90s, it usually winds up being a good investment for the team. I think it's easier to give a contract like this to a hitter than a pitcher because of the injuries involved. But the track record of the position players who are considered among the elite prospects in the game is pretty good. I mean, look at what the Braves have done. The Braves got their lineup locked in now for, I think, pretty much another 3 or 4 years, and they're just rolling. But yeah, no, I just think it's a smart business move. And, the teams have leverage because the players can't really make what they're worth for 6 years. You get paid the minimum for 3. But, I mean, you're talking about a guy who just turned 20 last week. And, I mean, he could be a 30-30 guy. He's probably close. The best comp would be maybe like a Ronald Acuna. Like he could be a Ronald Acuna type player in the big leagues. He's the first teenager to have I think it was a 20-homer, 40 or 50 steal season in the minors since Acuna. The power, the bat speed, the foot speed, the center field defense, it's all really, really good. I mean, the only thing I think you maybe tweak if you could is like his arm's probably average. Well, so it's like his arm's not like a plus or double plus tool, but I think the guy's going to be a superstar, and I get it. And I just think it's a smart business decision. And, rather than, if you just let him play year to year, he might, by the time he's a free agent 6 years down the road, be worth, I mean, who knows what salaries are going to be like then. He might be like a $50 million a year player, and you've got him locked up for his first 2 years of free agency at a fraction of that. So I think it's a good gamble. If you look at most of these deals, they have worked out. And I think the ones that don't work out, the ones that did wind up paying for them in the long run.
Well, Wyatt Langford's going to be going today for the Texas Rangers. We're now going to see him. By the way, could there be you can't have a better name being a Texas Ranger. Wyatt, it just fits.
Yeah, no, I mean, you talk about having a good year. So the Rangers win the World Series. That's obviously the goal of everybody. They win the first World Series in franchise history. After I think the previous 2 or 3 seasons had been their worst run since they moved to Texas in 1972. They turn around and win the World Series. Plus, I probably shouldn't bring up the draft lottery on an A's cast because A's have had the worst draft lottery luck. But you have the Rangers, who I believe were going to pick 7th in the draft. They move up to number 4 in the draft lottery. And during a year where you're on the way to winning the World Series, you get Wyatt Langford, and look, this was a great draft. You had, unfortunately for the A's who wound up falling to 6, you had 5 guys who were legitimate number 1 pick type talents. And the Rangers get one of them in a year where they're winning the World Series. And Wyatt Langford, I think, is going to make their opening day roster. Last time I checked, maybe O'Neill Cruz has him now, but he was at one point leading spring training in homers. I mean, this guy, star for 2 years at Florida. They went to College World Series finals. But he's a slugger who hits, if that makes sense. Like power is what you're going to notice first. But he's a gifted hitter. So it's not like a Joey Gallo, where you notice Joey Gallo's power, but Joey Gallo might strike out 5 times in a game. I mean, Wyatt Langford is a really good hitter. He can run. I mean, it's funny. I mean, they already have 3 good outfielders in Texas. Willie Taveras is a tremendous center fielder. Evan Carter's a young guy. Adolis Garcia. I guess they'll squeeze Wyatt Langford and rotate guys into DH, but I'd be shocked with the way he's performed. And he tore it up last year in the minors, hit like 360 with a bunch of power, got to AAA. I think he's going to make their opening day roster. He's going to make the opening day roster of the World Series champions after getting drafted. I guess it was 9 months early. Like, that's crazy.
Let's end on this. You mentioned I'd give one of those deals to a position player. We've got so much data coming out. We have so much opinions. We do know pitchers are just getting hurt. It is just scary, and they're getting hurt at all levels. We're hearing about high school kids with Tommy John surgery. It's just everywhere you look. Pitchers are throwing harder than ever before, and they're getting hurt like never before. So from a prospect standpoint, how tough is it to get super excited about somebody? Because you just never know. You're one outing away from getting that dreaded news. He's going to see Dr. Elitraz in Los Angeles to talk about the UCL. Just how much do you worry about that covering all of this?
Okay, my back. We backed up for 1 second there. Sorry. So I think the end of your question was like, how hard is it to get excited about pitching prospects, basically? And I agree with you. I mean, the technology is helping guys throw harder than ever, spin the ball harder than ever, crazy pitch shape to look like wiffle balls. But you're right. I think a byproduct is people's bodies just aren't built to throw that hard and spin the ball that hard on a consistent basis. I mean, it's in the back of your mind. I'm still excited. Paul Skeens, number 1 pick in last year's draft, looked really good in spring breakout. Probably right there with Steven Strasburg, his best pitching prospect in draft history. And Steven Strasburg kind of shows both sides of it, right? Steven Strasburg, when he was healthy, was key part of a World Series championship. Was very, very good. One of the best pitchers of baseball when he was healthy, but he was hurt a lot and his career ended prematurely. And yeah, it's in the back of your mind. I'm not at the point where I just totally discount, he's a pitcher, so I'm going to automatically put X number of hitters ahead of him. But it's the good and bad. We're seeing guys on the mound can do stuff that nobody could do before. Even 10 years ago, if we were talking about all the guys throwing 100 miles an hour or spin the ball 3,000 plus RPMs, and you look at Pitching Ninja on Twitter, and guys are throwing 100 and the ball's going like this. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but like it's amazing to watch, but it's hard to sustain. I do think, well, we're going to end this on a bummer now, but I do think that's really the biggest question facing baseball today is how are we going to have enough pitching going forward year after year after year? Like this whole, throw as hard as you can, as long as you can, then we'll bring in the next guy. That's not built for durability. And something's got to change at some point, because you can't just keep having guys throw harder and harder and break more often. It's an issue. Mason Miller. Mason Miller throws really hard, and the A's are trying to find a way to keep him healthy so they can have him for a full season.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. We've talked a lot about it on the show. There's just not enough human beings on the planet to be turning and burning guys like they're running backs in the NFL. It's just not. It's not a bummer, because you know what? You're the best in the business, and we love following you, and no one does it better when you talk about covering our game and covering prospects. And that's why we were so bummed that our spring breakout game got called off, because I think it's been a huge success. And baseball promoted this so much. Obviously, they're into it. I'm not going to be shocked if this turns into maybe a weekend thing, if it turns into a week, like let's say the A's and the Giants, whoever won that goes to play, whoever won between the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. I could see baseball because we're all so intrigued about these guys who are our future.
Yeah, I mean, there's talk. I mean, I was bummed too because I was calling the Cubs White Sox game that was also in Mesa, but it started like 2 hours before Giants A's. So I was going to get that game in and drive down the street and get doubleheader in. I was so looking forward to it. And I do think it came off pretty well. It was a lot of fun. I can't imagine the logistics went into that. And I do think there has been talk, like it was initially conceived as kind of a tournament. You'd have an Arizona tournament and a Florida tournament. You couldn't really play the winners against each other because they'd have to fly to the middle of the country, middle of spring training. But I do think, I'm not saying next year, but maybe 5 years down the line, you'll see it'll be like a single elimination tournament. Maybe you play the first 2 rounds on one weekend, the next 2 rounds another weekend. There's even talk that if you win the tournament, you get a first pick at the end of the first round as a bonus. So then I think you'd even incentivize teams to have even more of their best prospects play. But yeah, no, it was what I got to see 3 games, and it was a lot of fun, and I think it's only going to grow from here.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're looking at your app and the weather app. You're like, we're supposed to have a little rain at 3:00. Next, thing you know, it's a down. We're trying to play through it. Giants and A's, and the thunder and lightning came, and it was ball game over.
I called the day before. I called the first spring breakout game, which was Rangers Reds. And when I walked in the booth, our producer said, "Man, the rain does not look good for Mason tomorrow." And I was like, "What are you talking about? We're in Arizona. It's not supposed to rain out here." So I kind of had a hunch. And then I looked at the forecast that morning, and it was supposed to rain off and on for about 5 hours. But no, we got teased too because at our game, they put the tarp on. They had the tarp on in plenty of time. And then they wound up taking the tarp off, and they're working on the field. But there was so much water on the warning tracks. I was like, even when they're working on the field, I just can't imagine the farm directors are going to want guys, run around. And like, what if you have an outfielder go back on the warning track and it's wet? And he's like, I just had that feel. And then it started to rain again, and boom, that was it. So yeah, it was a shame, but maybe next year.
Hey, we always appreciate the time. You're the best, and we'll talk to you later during the season.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot for having me.
Take care. Yeah, he is good. He is the main man when it comes to prospects. So he was just down the road at Sloan Park. Didn't realize that. Yeah, it was crazy. It rained. We started. It rained. Put the players back on the field. Started raining again, and then thunder and lightning everybody off. That's when the game changes. A lot there, man. A lot there. We just covered. If you're a big baseball fan, a lot there. Sustainability, something we've talked a lot about on A's Cast. Sustainability. It's great. These guys are all throwing 101, 103, and now the sweeper, and it's crazy, and but the arms can't take it. And there's not enough guys. There's just not enough human beings to be able to eat up these innings. And how these front offices wanted to deal with this was, we'll have guys throw less, but that hasn't equated to guys staying healthy. There's a problem.
It's interesting you brought it up because we listened to the audio earlier, but Chris Bassitt was on Chris Rose's podcast, and he talked about that, like how teams are putting.
Yeah, we got to get into that because we got Jared Sandler from the Rangers coming up here. And then the other thing I want to circle back on is just how tough the business is for a lot of teams. And as he mentioned, for us, it's so different when you deal with us because we joke David Force has been here since he left high school or since he left Harvard. Billy Owens has been here since he ended his career. Of course, he was a great Arizona Wildcat. We saw Billy at the owner's party. Eric Kubota. They've all been here for years. Dan Feinstein has been here for a long time, even though he went to Tampa for a little bit. But he's been here. I mean, everybody in the baseball ops, the great Pam Pitts has been here for forever. So everybody with the A's has been here a long time. But it's a tough dance, right, for most teams because as most teams, baseball managers don't have lifetime deals. Front office people don't have lifetime deals. So it's like it's very tough. Like you want to win today, but be prepared for the future. And it's tough to do. It's easy for me and the callers in the postgame show to say, hey, I want you to win, but I want you to win with the future now. I want you to win now with the future, because when the future comes, I want you ready to win a World Series. Well, it's tough to tell a manager that. He's grinding out every single game. And insert manager whoever, right? Our good buddy Derek Shelton for the Pirates.
Yeah.
How do you tell him to worry about 3 years from now when he's got to win now? Our own Mark Kotze wants to win now.
It's happened a few times to Rick Renteria, who was the manager of the Cubs those years they were rebuilding. They got
White
rid of
Sox.
him, and then they bring in Joe Madden. It happened in Houston with our friend Bo Porter, who got replaced for AJ Hinch.
Bo Porter came on this show. You see him on MLB Network, but he came on this show, and I asked him, it was a tough question, but I asked him, I said, what was it like to manage a team and you knew your front office didn't want you to win? And he answered it. Like, they still had a job to do, but they knew Jeffrey Luhnow did not want that team to succeed. They had to put a team out there, but they did not want them to succeed because you were able to suck for luck, as we used to say, for Andrew Luck. I want the worst record so I get the first pick. They used to have that. We don't have that anymore. Now, your percentages are still good, unless you're the A's when it comes to the draft lottery. But
there's no one out there for the Sharks right now for the guy in the draft too.
But that's the thing. But where the A's are now, there's the sense, hey, no, we're going to win some games. But I agree. But I also want to be thinking about building these. I want to see ages with guys that are going to be here when the thing fully turns around. Alex Wood has been named opening day starter. I thought that was interesting over JP Sears. I was actually pretty shocked by that.
Same. I was not expecting that.
I was not. I have not seen. I just saw that it happened. I have not seen, and maybe Johnny will have, because Johnny will end up having what Mark Kotze said today. Yeah. I was pretty shocked by that. Yeah, I thought JP Sears, 32 starts, what he's done in spring had earned the right to take the ball on opening day.
Yeah, I was going to say the way he's pitched in spring. I mean, Wood's pitched decent in spring as well.
He's been okay. His last start was good, but he's been okay.
I know you bring him in as the big free agent acquisition, and I don't know if that was part of the deal. You tell him he's going to start opening day or whatnot. But, it was announced earlier. The reason I saw it is it wasn't Martin Gallegos' tweet. We actually put this out on social media saying that Alex Wood was our opening day starter on our Athletics social media. So that's how I knew that he was going to be our opening day starter. And I was like, well, we were talking for weeks about how it was going to be JP Sears, and then we get, that. So congrats to Alex Wood. But yeah, I was shocked it was not JP Sears after the year he had last year for the A's. But, it's one of those things. Wood's here for 1 year. Sears pitches well again. He'll be the guy next year.
Well, you only get it so many opportunities in your career to do that. It is just the first start. I mean, you can't, it's one game, it's the first game, and by a month later, you don't even remember. But
yeah, Kyle Muller was our opening day starter last year. A lot of people don't remember that.
Let's not forget, Kendall Graveman was a 2-time opening day starter for the Athletics.
The White Sox are throwing out Garrett Crochet. The kid throws incredibly hard coming off, I think, Tommy John. Never started the game in Major League Baseball. He's one of 11 guys that ever do that hasn't started the game. It's the first since 90 or 2014. And then before that was Fernando.
You threw the question to me earlier.
Oh,
youngest Brian Bayo for the Red Sox, youngest opening day for the Sox. And you're like, since who in 1995? I'm thinking, man, Clemens was still there, so he's not open. I would never have guessed this one.
Yeah, Aaron Seeley. It was a few days younger than Brian
Pedro's
Bayo.
Not there yet. I'm like 95. That's my senior year of baseball at San Jose State. I'm thinking 95. Clemens didn't go. Clemens went to Toronto in 97.
Yeah, 97, 98 Toronto, back-to-back Tony win years.
No, he was back-to-back Triple Crown winner in the American League with the Toronto Blue Jays.
And he was 32 in 95, though, so he wasn't anywhere near the 24 like Brian Bayo.
Something had to be going on that Clemens wasn't the opening day starter in 95 for the Red Sox. Yeah, I don't know if he was hurt or
I don't know. Aaron Seeley, I always remember him as a Mariner, but
I was in college, so it was a long, long time ago. I'm very curious. How is it me or this Wyatt Langford is probably one of the great names
No, you're right. I don't think it's just you. It is
as a Texas Ranger. I mean, trust me, if he was a Florida Marlin, I wouldn't be saying anything.
Yeah.
Wyatt Langford as a Ranger, it couldn't fit any better. I absolutely love it. Do we have Jared?
Yeah, we do.
What's up, guys?
What is happening? How are you?
I'm great. I am sitting here, what would we say, 10, 15 yards away from Johnny D with his hat. What do you call that? A newsboy hat? Is that what it's called? Whatever his trademark look is. And so I'm in a great place right now.
Yeah, I try and let him know that he's not covering the British Open. He's covering Major League Baseball. I don't get why he wears those hats, but he does. I didn't realize, I saw you at Farron's party. I didn't realize we were going to have you on this week. I apologize.
Yeah. Oh, I thought our conversation about Jerry Jones is what earned me an appearance today. I guess I was mistaken.
No, I didn't realize. I mean, I think I'm still full from the party.
I think Mike tries to feed an entire state whenever he has all of us over. It's pretty impressive.
Well, let's get into the Texas Rangers. I mean, what a year. I mean, you look back to last year, you think about that last weekend, and the next thing you know, you got a disappointing flight all the way to Florida, which Florida from Seattle is a long flight. People can't be happy. And the next thing you know, you're winning the World Series. Just talk about winning the World Series. It's now not all about high school football and the Dallas Cowboys. Everybody's truly loving the Rangers, the new ballpark, really celebrating the new ballpark because obviously that was tough opening that during COVID. Just what has this whole experience been like being around the Texas Rangers?
Yeah, it's been incredible. I mean, you only have one first World Series, and not that the Rangers are lucky enough to maybe not wait another 50 some odd years to win their next one. Not that those won't be special. They all have their own story, but being that this is the first, and it comes from an organization that, as a lot of people, at least a lot of Rangers fans know, that we're one strike away twice in 2011 from winning a World Series, and had lost a World Series in back-to-back years, 2010 and 2011. It's incredible. DFW is complete with 4 major sports teams, but not a lot of winning. The Stars have won Stanley Cup. The Mavericks have won NBA title. The Cowboys have their Super Bowls, but they've been largely a disappointment. And I don't want to say irrelevant. The Cowboys are never irrelevant, but the Cowboys haven't made a conference championship game in 3 decades. And so now you get the Rangers, who prior to last year, they hadn't, won a World Series, won their sports championship. And so this is a sports market that is not spoiled by any means in terms of their team's athletic successes. And so to see the DFW community rally around a team that frankly had been kind of irrelevant in their eyes in the 6 years prior, no playoffs, and really other than maybe 2019 not coming anywhere close to a playoff spot, it was really, really neat. And it was cool to see the ballpark start to fill up more and more with each passing week as the team showed that they were for real. And then it was kind of a roller coaster because the Rangers almost didn't make the playoffs. There's such a fine line these days, and being a playoff team and a World Series contender versus missing out. And the Rangers almost missed out. They didn't, and they got hot at the right time, and it was really incredible.
Hey, I worked in the NFL for years. I understand how big the Dallas Cowboys are. When you think of the Cowboys, the Yankees, probably the Lakers, you start looking at certain teams. Jerry Jones, what he has built there. But, yeah, they haven't been to a Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl since I was in college in the mid-'90s. So if I was a Ranger and a Ranger employee, you bet I'm sticking my chest out and I'm letting everybody know. If I were you guys, I would be parading like a peacock as they gag again down the stretch. If I'm a Rangers personnel, you bet I'm bragging.
Oh, for sure. And I would be lying to you if I told you that it did not cross my mind as the Cowboys were eliminated, getting absolutely embarrassed by the Packers. And then when the University of Texas lost their playoff game, not that I was celebrating either loss necessarily, but it did cross my mind. Gosh, the Rangers waited so long to win a World Series. It would really stink to have to share the spotlight with one of the other teams. And double-edged sword, right? Not rooting for the misery of anyone else, but it is cool that the Rangers have kind of been the talk of the town, and everyone's really looking forward to opening day and everything that it all entails. And I think the really neat thing, Chris, is not that there's anything wrong with what the Marlins did in the late 90s and early 2000s with their 2 titles, but they won and then they disappeared. They tore everything down. I think what's really exciting is that the Rangers are not in that position. It's a very tough division, but I think the Rangers feel like this could be the beginning of a window in which they are relevant and competitive for several years, which I think is really any organization's goal. Winning is great, and that's the ultimate goal. But I think the Rangers hope that they're. I think what the sentiment that's been shared by the front office is, one of the top organizations in all of baseball, and that means being a perennial contender for a postseason berth and beyond.
3 guys that I'm going to kind of put them together. That you look at them coming to Texas and decisions made, and you got to give John Daniels some credit. Got to obviously Chris Young, but you look at a guy that we love to death. He's a Bay Area guy, went to Cal. He was a grade A. You look at Marcus Semien, you look at Seager, and you look at Bruce Bochy. Those 3 guys coming to Texas helped change everything. We could probably individually talk about them for a long time, but when I think of that 3, when you talk about winning this World Series, it was a big deal landing all 3 of those guys, really a catalyst to get you guys where you needed to go.
Yeah, and I want to add one name to that the following year, Nathan Eovaldi, and I'll get to him in a second. But I remember when the Rangers signed Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, there was a lot of criticism that they were not building a team the right way, that you don't spend that money until you're maybe a few steps further along. And, the reality is there's not one right way to build a team, first of all. Second of all, the Rangers needed a shortstop. And, they needed core up-the-middle players. And in that particular offseason, there were multiple options at shortstop that were there for the taking. And at the right stage in their careers, too. Corey Seager was – a lot of guys in our sport, because of the CBA and 6 years of control, they don't become free agents until they're 31, 32, 33. And do you really want to pay them at, that stage of their career? Well, Corey Seager was shy of that. He was still in his 20s. And the free agent class in the shortstop position wasn't going to be as robust in subsequent years. And so maybe it wasn't the ideal time, but it was the right time for them. And I think it sent a message that, hey, yeah, we did just lose 100 games. But we mean business, and it helped slowly change the attitude. They didn't win a lot of games that following season. The first year with Corey and Marcus, team lost 90 games. But there was an idea and an understanding that they had taken a big step towards getting back to being competitive. And then the moves they made last year, Jacob deGrom didn't contribute a whole lot on the field, but I think it was a move that helped change the attitude of the Rangers organization being able to acquire pitching. And then they add Nathan Eovaldi, who was named earlier today. No surprise. It was not, no one was sitting on the edge of their seat for this, but named the team's opening day starter. And Chris, let me tell you something. If anyone doesn't believe that guys can make a substantial impact in the clubhouse that will then carry over to the field, I will refer always to Nathan Eovaldi first and foremost. Last year, and keep in mind, the Rangers had not been good. And when you're not good and you're rebuilding, you got a lot of guys cycling in and out. You got a lot of guys who they're not sure that they're going to be around for the long term. They're just trying to figure out, if they're going to be a big leaguer the very next day. When you start to sign veterans, they can start to lay the groundwork of the culture. And I had not seen the Rangers starting pitchers all show up for their counterparts' bullpens during spring training. Well, Nathan Eovaldi got all of the starters to be there whenever one of their fellow starters was throwing a bullpen. Nathan Eovaldi was there whenever anyone was hurt and working their way back. Doesn't matter if it was a big leaguer, a guy in big league camp, or a minor leaguer who was, just there as a non-roster guy. And you ask any one of our pitchers, young or old, hey, who's the teammate who has impacted you the most? I would say 19 out of 20 guys would say Nathan Eovaldi. And I think the acquisition of Nathan Eovaldi went such a long way to helping this team take the next step, not only on the field, but in the clubhouse. And the Rangers haven't had a captain since Michael Young. I don't know that they are planning on naming a captain. But if you were to say to Bruce Bochy, Chris Young, or any of the teammates, who's the captain of this team? I think you would have Marcus Semien represent the position players. And I think in a unanimous vote, it would be Nathan Eovaldi representing the pitchers.
Leadership and accountability will always work. Sports, life, business, it is what it is, and you're dead on. Jordan Montgomery is not a Ranger right now. Why?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think largely the ownership group does not feel like they're in a position where it makes sense for them to spend at that level. And that's never fun for fans to hear. And Chris, I understand. I'm talking to you and
talking to the A's fans. We understand.
I'm talking to A's fans, and they get that. And the A's are not going to feel badly for any fan base that does that. I think for the Rangers fan base, their thought is, hey, this should be a major market. This is a major market, and they should operate like a major market organization. But the reality is the ownership group spent nearly $1 billion over the previous 2 off seasons. And they also are probably going to have to open up the pocketbooks in the next few years, and maybe in a big way with Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter and Josh Young. And so I understand it. I don't fault them for that. I think, Chris, the issue is that one area in which the Rangers have somehow sidestepped in winning a World Series is their ability to develop starting pitching. And that's something the A's have done, a way better job of. When you can develop starting pitching, you can have a guy like Jordan Montgomery become a free agent and still have fans want him to be signed, but also then be able to turn and say, well, it's okay because we've got A, B, and C guy coming up through the system who are ready to step in. And the Rangers just don't have a dearth of options who fit that category. And so it makes the signing of a guy like Jordan Montgomery feel more like a necessity. But as we all know in sports, you shouldn't just sign a guy to a big contract because you feel like you need to if you don't believe it's the right move. And the Rangers, whether it's the TV situation or whatnot, they don't believe it's the right move. And I don't think that it's a unanimous decision. I think there are people in the front office, maybe Chris Young, who would love to bring Jordan Montgomery back. But it's the largest payroll the Rangers have ever had. And it's obviously not a move that's been greenlit by the right people. And so Jordan Montgomery remains a free agent.
All right. We know you got to get on the call. Just a quick update. Where are we health-wise? Scherzer, DeGrom, when can we see him? What do you expect?
Yeah. So Max Scherzer has been totally cleared to begin his recovery process throwing. It was a back surgery. So he is fully mobile. He will begin his ramp up, and the hope is that Max Scherzer will be ready late May, early June. They actually do have an interesting decision with him. They might need to create an extra 40-man spot, and his spot might be the extra one needed, and so they could put him on the 60-day IL, or they could leave him off if they feel like he might beat it by a couple weeks. Jacob deGrom has slowly started to begin his throwing program, and the hope for Jacob deGrom is early August with no setbacks. Tyler Mahle probably 2 weeks to a month ahead of Jacob deGrom, and then the Rangers had a ton of position player injuries. Corey Seager still a coin flip for opening day. Josh Young appears like he'll be ready for opening day, even though he hasn't gotten into a Cactus League game yet. And Nathaniel Lowe will be out about 2 to 4 weeks into the regular season. So mid to late April is his return.
Well, my prediction, there'll be a poster or a bobblehead, Wyatt Langford with 6 shooters and spurs. I mean, it screams Wyatt Earp. Can you have a better name as a Texas Ranger as Wyatt?
It is. I heard you say that right before I came on. You're right. That is an awesome Texas name. I'm trying to think some other ones that would fit that bill, but there might not be anyone that's better than Wyatt Langford in that regard. And Chris, I'll tell you, I think Rangers fans have already. I mean, the Rangers fan base wants the Rangers to sign him to a 15-year extension for $7 billion. But I fully expect Wyatt Langford to not only open the season with the team, but to open the season as this team's number 3 hitter, which you just don't see very often for a guy with 0 major league experience, specifically 0 major league experience joining a team that's the defending World Series champions.
I'm still trying to get over Carter. He made his debut against us last year. Like, who the hell is this guy? And all he does is hit. You just keep bringing up these. Where are all these guys coming from?
Well, I said the Rangers, they haven't necessarily benefited from the fruit of pitching development. They certainly have with the bats, with Josh Young and Evan Carter, Wyatt Langford. They've done a really good job in that regard. And those 3 are going to be a great complement to some of the veterans like Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, who will be a big part of the lineup.
Well, congratulations on the World Series run. It was a lot of fun to watch. Appreciate you stopping by, and let's do this again soon. When I don't know, do we go there or do you come here first?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. I'm just trying to get through. We had a near 3-hour Cactus League game yesterday, which Chris, that can be a bear. So I don't know. I'm not sure where we go if we see you first, but we'd love to chat with you once the season gets going.
Number 79 will be facing number 83 right now in the 7th inning here.
Exactly. No kidding.
We got a bunch of wide receivers on the field. Hey, great stuff. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. You be well.
You as well, Chris. Take care.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Yeah, I mean, think about that. I mean, whatever you want to say. Hey, listen, I'm not dumb. I know the Dallas Cowboys probably are the number 1 sports franchise in America. Jerry Jones has built them into just a massive, put it this way. When Jerry Jones created Jerry's World, now they've got, where's their practice facility where they have, is it Plano, where they have multiple facilities, but they built like a hotel. There's practice facility. Frisco. They built a practice facility that's got like a convention center, a hotel. It's like a resort around there. I mean, it's unbelievable. Let me tell you something. When Jerry Jones was leaving Texas Stadium and he built Jerry's World, no one was going, but what about the community, Jerry? What about this? And it's business, man. And Jerry Jones is a great businessman, and he makes money. That's one thing Jerry Jones does is he makes money. What's he worth now? $6 billion, Jerry Jones? Look at his wealth. I mean, he had money, but his wealth, oh, excuse me. I'm embarrassing myself.
You got to double it and add some.
13.7 billion he's worth.
Jera's 81 now too. So
I know Jerry Jones has had a conversation with our owner John Fisher about, because remember, he's got that company that handles your tickets and all that stuff. That Jerry's company does all the Raiders stuff. Jerry's a salesman, man. Even at 80 years old, he's calling people, he's making deals. Jerry's not sitting back. That's one of the reasons, you want to stay alive for a long time, you keep doing what you love. Jerry Jones literally made a phone call. I think I can say this. He made a phone call. He called John Fisher. Jerry Jones is a salesman. That's what he does. He makes deals. He's out there to make deals. It's amazing. He's worth $13 billion now.
Don't shortchange him. 13.7.
Wow.
Almost 14.
Because he's out there to
he's getting into Steve Cohen territory.
He's out there making the Cowboys and making his businesses, and that's what he does. I mean, it's a completely different deal. And in Texas, you get what you want. It's amazing.
They play their home games at Arlington. Their world headquarters is in Frisco, and they have
where Texas Stadium. Where was Texas Stadium where they used to play? Was that in Fort Worth? Old Cowboy Stadium.
Let's see. And when their training camp thing is in Oxnard. It was in
Irving.
Irving, yeah.
I mean, think about that. Jerry Jones, and they've done it for years. They've gone to Oxnard, California.
Yeah.
Do you even know where Oxnard is?
I mean, I do, but I don't know how many people actually know where Oxnard
Southern
is.
California, east. Not the greatest spot in the world, but yeah, he brings his football team to California to train. I mean, it's business, man. It's about growing your business. I understand it. Not everybody loves that way of life, but it is what it is. But the Texas Rangers, they got a lot of holes, especially pitching wise.
You said Wyatt is a good name. What about if Walker Buehler was a Ranger? Walker, do you like that?
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very,
very good.
How do they work out a deal to have Walker and Wyatt in the same?
You can't. Too big. I mean, all your promotions would be.
No, if there's a baseball player named Chuck Norris that you could have on.
Oh my God!
Place well.
Blow the place up. Walker, Texas Ranger, up against Wyatt Langford. Wyatt and Walker. Sounds like a
W&W.
W&W whiskey. Wyatt and Walker. And we get Logan O'Hoppy in there and bring his Irish whiskey. We're all in. I'm going to make money with all these guys.
I'm pretty sure we have a guy in our system, Blake Beers, as well. So there's a.
Oh my God, we bring in Blake Beers? I mean, seriously, we'll be worth $13 billion. That's a. Getting back to Jim Callis, how much time do we got per job? I mean, we should play this. Our own Chris Bassitt, love him to death. We'll always love Seabass, love him. Seabass was on with Chris Rose.
I
almost feel like I apologize, but I don't apologize. We bring you topical things on this show that are happening in our game, and sometimes you might be like, here they go again. But just look today. Jim Callis is like, this is not sustainable. This is bad. We don't have enough pitchers. We don't have enough healthy pitchers at any level. We can't keep these dudes healthy. I'm sitting here. Max Scherzer can't go. Jacob deGrom can't go. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy how many these. You got kids getting Tommy John surgery. Kids. All the college kids, the high school kids. It's an epidemic. We're in front offices haven't given a crap. And it's just throw till you blow. And it's sad. But we got guys doing stuff. Jim Callis said it, not me, throwing it like a wiffle ball. Ball's doing crazy stuff at high speeds, and guess what? The UCL, the ligament, where just go to your funny bone right there, your UCL, it can't handle it. And we get enamored. Oh, he throws 103. Ooh. Oh, my God, look at the vertical. Whew, that's crazy. He's nasty. The pitching ninja. Well, guess what? It doesn't work long term. Mason Miller. Looking back on it now, should have kept him in and let him go for that no-hitter.
He was like close to 100
7
pitches,
innings.
And it was close to like 100 pitches or whatever.
I mean, he was not going to stay healthy no matter what you did with him. It's sad, but you can't keep these guys healthy. Let's listen to Chris Bassitt.
Do you think that too many front offices have a short-term view on pitching and not enough concern about player health?
MLB started a very, very, very big issue, decided that 97 was way, way, way more valuable than 91. You started a problem where I would see a guy throwing 90 miles an hour, say out of the bullpen, and he would have a 3.7 ERA. And then you'd have a guy throwing 98 out of the bullpen, and he would have a 4.7 ERA. The next year comes around, the guy throwing 90 was a non-roster invite, and the guy throwing 97 was invited back. So you set the precedent that stuff meant more than stats. Of course, injuries are going to happen at an alarming rate because you have a natural human body that's not made to say throw 95, 96, 97. They're made to throw 91, 92, and that's okay. I just think we have to get back, and I think we have to start setting the precedent in MLB where we care about pitching rather than throwing.
I mean, what do you want me to say? I've been talking about this now for years. What's the most important thing right now in pitching?
Health.
Yeah, but think about it, though. You used to say it was strikeouts. When we started doing the show together, Commander, you were so infatuated with strikeouts, just like the front offices. Don't put the ball in play. I don't care how long you go. Spencer Strider goes 5 innings, but he struck out 9. Ooh. And then now all of a sudden you've kind of come around like, well, it's great that a guy does this for 3/4 of a season. Then he blows out his elbow, and I don't have him for a whole nother year. It's just like, we need innings. Innings are the most, every single team right now is trying to figure out when we're down at spring training and you're going and you're talking to other broadcasters, everybody's saying the same thing. How are we going to get all these outs? Who's going to get them? We don't have enough pitching. We don't have enough pitching here. We don't have enough pitching in AAA, AA. We just don't have enough. There's not enough bodies. There's not enough human beings that are good enough to throw this thing. And if you're listening on A's Cast, you can't see I'm holding a baseball. There's not enough human beings on this planet that are good enough at throwing this baseball that can get the best hitters in the world out. Because the problem is hitters don't get hurt like pitchers. Hitters aren't getting hurt. Hitters stay healthy, pitchers get hurt. So I'm bringing lesser guys constantly to get the best hitters in the world out. Now, I want them all to throw hard, so I'm able to strike these great hitters out, but it's not sustainable. And every single time you got a guy who, this guy's the next, and Tommy John. And this and this winter, the old shoulder scapula rotator cuffs are back. I mean, it's just, man.
I think the thing that really got to me, it was alarming because the one guy that a lot of people, hung their hat on, that was the guy that threw hard and was never hurt, is Garrett Cole, and now he's hurt. I know it's 1 to 2 months, and he's kind of, as of right now, avoiding surgery. But we're talking about a guy that's a workhorse who, throws 200 innings, and he is a guy that goes out there for 30-plus starts every year. Now he's hurt, and he still throws 100 or close to 100. Now he's hurt. So there's I think, hopefully teams start noticing more and the league starts noticing more what's going on, because now you have your top guy that won the Cy Young last year who's hurt for 1 to 2 months as of right now for the Yankees.
Well, the last guy to really be old school, and he did it for a long time till finally it popped, was Verlander.
Yeah.
Verlander sustained a level of dominance, ton of innings, ton of starts, until the elbow gave away. I want to say he was 38, 39.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, okay. I mean, the elbow gave away for almost 20 years. But he's kind of the last, Kershaw hasn't been Tommy John. Kershaw, just the other parts of his body, shoulder, back.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think he's projected for like 75 innings this year or something.
Oh, he's older.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens. Like, once a guy gets late 30s and he starts breaking down, we just got used to a bunch of guys being on PEDs and they weren't breaking down their late 30s. They were defying father time. But normal human beings, as we get older, we are more susceptible to injuries, the more stress we put on our bodies. So when a guy's been doing it, you got to remember, these guys have been throwing since they were little kids, and all of a sudden, if your arm gives out at 40, okay. But we got guys, I mean, it's crazy. I don't know what you do. But like Chris Bassitt said, all of a sudden, front offices just said, you throw 97, I'm interested. You throw 91, I'm not.
Because you're moving away from the guys like Maddox.
They weren't interested in innings. They were interested in strikeouts. Front offices became interested in everybody's got to be a strikeout guy. Can't put the ball in play because that's what the data says. We got all this data. I see. Oh, no, my Excel sheet left. Hold on. I'm not proving my point. We got all these Excel sheets, and we're putting all this data in. This is actually for our guest coming up on the pregame show, put on by the Karate Kid Ray. But, yeah, it's this kind of stuff where they're crunching all these numbers, strikeouts. That's all you cared about, strikeouts. And then all of a sudden everybody gets hurt, and now you're like, now what do we do? How do you go back? How do you go back to, hey, man, can this guy go for a full season? Like, how does baseball figure out? Baseball got so addicted to power. How do they go back to, well, you throw 92 and you sink it, and you're going to be able to go every 5 days for a full season? Like, how do we get back to our staff all goes 30 starts and we're not shuffling guys up and back? Like, I don't know how they go back, because they were They got to go to like pitcher's rehab because they were addicted to the stuff. Right? Our guy, Sarah, Stuff Plus. Yeah, but all your Stuff Plus guys can't stay healthy. I mean, everybody's got to go to a rehab and break this addiction to velocity and get back to, I need reliability. When will reliability become just as important again as velocity? Reliability over velocity. Because as I learned in the NFL years ago, they had a great saying, the best ability is
availability.
Availability.
New always taught me that.
You can't help me every Sunday in the NFL if you can't stay healthy. Well, we're now finding that in baseball, right? You can't help me being gone for over a year with Tommy John surgery. I need you this season. I need you healthy. I need 30 starts. I need 200 innings. 200 innings, yeah. That's if you went back to reliability over velocity, you'll get your 200 innings. But wait a minute, he doesn't have an ERA that's 2.23. Dude, I'll take your ERA at 4 if you give me 30 and 200. You're more valuable. You pitch more, you factor in games more, and I can rely that you're going to be there, and I don't have to have some bus going up and down from name AAA town. El Paso Chihuahuas.
Nashville.
The Nashville Sound.
Yeah.
I like the Chihuahuas.
Yeah. Real quick.
This isn't, as Vida Blue once said, the great Vida Blue was on Giants. Was it on, I think it was, might have been on KMBR or it was on NBC Bay Area on one of the Giants show. Vida Blue is famous. He has this famous saying going, "This isn't Fresno."
Yeah. Now
because the Giants AAA in Fresno.
The Grizzlies are not even AAA anymore. They're now low A.
Yes.
They're in the
They have a
Calis.
AAA ballpark that the taxpayers paid for that's now being used for A-ball. But it was one of the greatest.
Rockies team.
We
now.
can't really pirate that because that was somebody else's. But Vida Blue, even though he's ours, Vida going, "This isn't Fresno."
You were talking about reliability before we get to Mr. Reliable, Johnny D. The Marlins, they don't have Sandy Alcantara. Perez is hurt. Cabrera's hurt.
Yuri got hurt.
Yeah. Things are getting so bad for the
Yuri
Marlins.
Perez.
They're going to put their thing up. They're going to put AJ Puck back as a starter.
He is back in.
That's what I mean. That's how bad things are getting for the Marlins.
I think I talked about that on the broadcast with Johnny. I was like, they're down to one starter, and that one starter is
AJ Puck.
No.
Oh, Jesus Luzardo.
Jesus Luzardo.
Because Braxton Garrett's hurt too. Their other guy.
I mean, it's crazy. Johnny D. The great Johnny D. Hi, Johnny.
Hi, fellas. What's up, Johnny?
Yeah, first of all, tell me, it's your shoulder, your elbow. You're okay, right? You're able to go today?
I'm able to go. My shoulder's good. My elbow's good. The voice is okay. So, yeah, we're ready to roll. We're ready to roll.
Because everybody else, I mean, every single day this list, the Red Sox have a new guy that's hurt. Everybody's got a guy every day going down.
Yeah, Towny, you and I talked about this, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's taken so long to get some of these pitchers signed, right? Some of these big names, because teams are afraid. And look, Snell got 2 years at 62, right? Like, he didn't get 5 years.
It's really a one-year deal, right? It's got an opt-out. Right. It's a 1 year. Yeah.
Exactly. So, look, teams are fearful when you see all these injuries to starting pitchers, all these injuries to top-name guys. Buyer beware, right? Like it's the way this game is right now. It's amazing number of injuries. Remarkable.
All right, so you get the Mark Kotsay sound. Did you get the Kotsay sound for today? What was did in that conversation first? Did he mention opening day starter in it?
He did. Yeah.
And then why did he take Wood over Sears?
I think what it was, Towny, is what he said in the scrum there was that. He's been there 11 years. He hasn't had an opening day start before, Woody hasn't. And he just thought that the veteran kind of lead the way, the veteran guy. He's earned that through the years. So that was kind of what went into the factor, what went into the decision. So they believe just having a veteran guy and start off with Wood, have everybody else kind of get momentum behind him, I guess. I don't know. I personally thought it was going to be Sears, to be honest with you. That's kind of where I was going with my mind. I was a little surprised, but they're going with Alex Wood to start. I mean, look, I get both ways, but I just thought after the 32 starts, he would get the start. But they went with a veteran guy, 11-year big leaguer. So that's the route they wanted to go.
All right, you and I, well, we were on a call today. We had a little broadcasting call, and then I called you, and you told me kind of what we're seeing today. You know, you're starting to see the lineups, or what the lineups are going to look like. And I go, okay, I'm agreeing with Johnny. I mean, you're seeing that. You're the one guy seeing this every day.
Yeah.
Got a feeling we're going to see a lot of Ryan Noda in the leadoff spot this year. Would you agree to that?
Yes, and I think it's great because that's where the lead. You know what does he do? By the way,
Cody, what does he do?
He gets on base.
There you go.
He gets on base. So and look, I think he's great in the leadoff spot. I think 26 times, maybe I'm wrong on the math. Last year he's in the leadoff spot. But he gets on base. You know, and with the amount of times he walks, and I think he's going to have he's going to get on base even more with his bat as well this year. So I love it. I love seeing Noda in that leadoff spot.
Because Geloff's hitting second.
Yes, for sure. Yep, no question. Yep.
And then you can kind of, 3, 4, 5 will float, no question, with who's on the mound, righty or lefty.
True, that's true. But I will say this: JJ Bleday is he's getting in that 3 spot consistently, and I know that's your guy. I know that makes you that excites you for sure.
That warms me, Johnny. It warms. I've been trying to tell everybody. I know, just if the light can click, this dude's got serious talent.
I know. I've watched how your love for him has evolved from the inside the park home run. You've got we're painful with the injuries.
We were calling the games, right? People can't see it. We're calling the games, and of course, you're doing the action, right? And the other day, Bleday rips one into right field. I'm like, I'm telling you, dude, the guy can play.
Yeah, no doubt, man. He is fun to watch. I'll tell you, he made a couple of nights. He glides in center field. Watch him make those catches in right center on the run. The reads he gets, the speed he has, the closing speed he has in the outfield. It is a treat to watch. So it's he's been doing it defensively, offensively at spring training, but it's still exciting, and he's a really exciting player.
I always think about, like, if I was out there pitching and he comes up to the plate, 6'2", 2-something, athletic as hell, quick bat, you're like, it's game on. Like JJ Bleday steps into the box, you're on the mound, you realize that's a dude right there.
It is.
I mean, the numbers haven't shown it yet, but if the light goes on like it has this spring, he's hitting 351 this spring.
Yes.
Not saying that's going to translate completely. I don't think he's going to be winning a batting title this year. But JJ Bleday, I keep wanting to like if the light clicks, you got a guy that has the ability to be something special.
No question. He learned a lot from last year. He really did. I think just being around the league a second year, being healthy. You've got to remember something like Mark Kotsay's maybe the best college player in the history of the sport. Bleday had one of the greatest seasons of any college player in his junior year at Vandy. That's one of the best offensive seasons of anybody in college baseball ever. So look, the sky's the limit for this guy. As you said, we talk about a first-round pick. This is a 4th overall pick, and you trade AJ Puck to get him. I think it's going to end up being a lopsided deal, with all due respect to Puck, when it's all said and done, Towny.
This is a tough question. And if you just don't know, you just don't know. And if you've got right-handed bat Rooker, right-handed bat Andujar, and you're thinking about all the guys that you got, and you start looking at Ruiz, where does Ruiz now fit in with 6 outfielders? Because you can say, well, one guy's a DH, but you literally have 6 outfielders. Where does Ruiz fit in?
It is the $64,000 question, isn't it? Because look,
it's not a crazy question.
It's not. Look, you have Andujar, who's I think cemented himself in left for now to start the year. Bleday has kind of taken over center field. Right field, is it Seth Brown to start the year? Is Butler going to make the team? Does it come down to Butler or Bleday? So where does Ruiz fit in? It's a great question. I don't, you're not going to just have him come in and pinch run and be I don't know. That's a great question, because you got to have his bat I would say his bat. Got to have him in the lineup. for him to get better. He's not a guy. I don't think they can play sporadically and be effective, right? I think these guys got to play every day. So it's a great question. I don't have the answer yet, but maybe like the old cliche of the players make the lineups, right? We'll see how he does, and whoever earns that spot. And I don't know. Look, nobody's really separated themselves. In other words, everyone of those outfielders had a great spring. There's not one guy that hasn't.
They all got numbers. Yeah,
they do. They all have numbers, and their spring numbers. I get it, but they've all performed really well. Ruiz came in a little bigger, showed that pop the other way. He still obviously has the tremendous speed, so he's a tough guy to keep out of the lineup. But right now with Duar and Blade out there and Butler possibly Seth Brown and Wright, what do you do? What do you do? I don't know.
Think about a right-handed pitcher, Blade in center. Or whatever combination you want of Butler and Blade, center, right, whatever you want to do there, because they're both left-handed hitters. Then your DH on that day could be Seth Brown. That's giving you 3 left-handed hitters. If you're saying if you're saying Andujar's kind of cementing himself in left field, then you got your 3 left-handed hitters in center, right, and DH right there.
What do you do with Rooker, though? Rooker's still going to play against right-handed pitchers, bro. So I don't know what you do with that. Like, you can't just put Rooker on the bench if it's a right-handed pitcher.
Rooker in left and Andujar on the bench.
Okay. It's a good problem to have. We didn't have these conversations.
Guys, right? You got 6 guys, only 4. If you're using the DH with all outfielders, you got 6 guys for 4 spots.
Towny, March 19th, 2023, you and I weren't having these conversations. We weren't. So these are good conversations to have. Means that there's competition there, which means there'll be some success. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do, but you can't have Rooker on the bench. Rooker's going to play, whether it's DH or in the outfield. You know, Rooker he'll get a blow once in a while, but he's gonna play for the most part. So, and he's earned that.
Can I give you another one?
Yeah.
If Allen's ready to go for the start of the season and he's playing short, and you now have J.D. Davis at third, that leaves you 1 utility infielder.
Yeah.
Toro's playing third today, has experience. Toro is so you would need somebody who can play short, second, and third, right? That because you're going to have 1 utility guy. With 6 outfielders, you can only have 5 infielders because of 2 catchers. You just do the math. But we checked it. Toro's never played short in the big leagues. Yeah, I didn't know that either. I would have thought he got some games at short. He's never played shortstop at the big league level.
Wow. You know, like, look, it doesn't come down to Hernandez or Toro for that final spot. If you have 6 outfielders, including the DH, you're going to have 1 backup infielder. So you got to make a call on it. We talked about it in Aussie. Like, do you go with the kid, Hernandez, the kid, or do you go with Toro, the veteran guy who's played all over the place, although he hasn't played short? You know, Nick Allen, I think, is going to be the starting shortstop come opening day. I think he'll be ready. I mean, I don't know that for sure. I'm not on the training staff or in those meetings, but I think, you know, they're working him in, and we got a few days left before we have 9 days before opening day. So I think he'll end up being the opening day shortstop.
Man, it's coming quick, Johnny. It's coming quick. These decisions are coming real fast.
Yeah,
tell Lawrence Butler you're playing short today.
Yeah.
Hey, Law, get an infield glove. Put that. I mean, how big is Law? 6'3", 6'4"? He's a monster.
Yeah.
Law is 6'3". He's like kind of like a mini O'Neill Cruz out there. Put Law at short. He's our backup shortstop.
You can do it all, right?
I guarantee you, if you ask me, you go, I could do it. I don't think, and that's what I love. I don't think there's anything Lawrence Butler thinks he can't do on a baseball.
Oh, I know. He's got so much confidence. It's so great to see. I love watching this kid. He's electric. He is everything he does. Because even the dailiness of being around the team, he's got that smile. He's lifting everybody else up. He's always in a good mood. This guy is he's a killer. He can play, man. And I like the fact that he goes, me and Geloff, we're dogs. He's a dog like me. We're dogs out there. I love his whole vibe. He's just great.
Yeah, these guys have grown up together, and Lawrence Butler is a straight-out athlete.
Yes, he is
an athlete. There's no question. All right, we have not played it yet. Johnny, they are the defending champions. We have not played Know Your Rangers yet. This is
Netovoso on this, because this is going to be – that's not easy, this team. This is not going to be easy.
How well do know Arlington, Texas, and the Texas Rangers, the world champs.
Ugh. We'll see.
Every answer can't be Nolan Ryan either.
Yeah, all right.
First question. This is a softball.
Yeah.
Who was the World Series MVP for the Rangers last season?
Marcus Semien.
That is incorrect.
Marcus Semien was the MVP of the World Series.
Two-time World Series MVP.
That'd be someone else.
I'm sorry, two-time World Series MVP. You're saying
he's now a two-time after winning this. He became
Corey Seager. I'm sorry, Corey Seager. I'm sorry,
Corey Seager is the answer. All right, not a great start. All right,
I apologize, Ranger. I apologize. That's not me.
How many MVP awards did Juan Gone win with the Rangers?
Interesting. I think he won 2.
That is correct.
All legal.
Who was the first Rangers pitcher to win 25 games in a season?
25 wins for a Ranger, man. What was it?
You'd know him as a Cub.
It was not.
He's known as a Cub.
It wasn't Jamie Moyer, was it? No.
No. He's known as a Cub. He's a Hall of Famer. You think of him as
Jenkins. Fergie Jenkins.
There you go.
Who has the Rangers single-season home run record?
Juan Gonzalez, the aforementioned.
It is not Juan Gone. I got to use the same guy twice in questions.
The most unlikable guy who now is the face of Fox.
Alex Rodriguez.
There you go. Okay. Who has the most hits?
A-Rod, a shortstop hitting 50. Once again, not legal, but still. 57 bombs as a shortstop? My God.
Impressive.
Who has the most hits in Rangers history?
The captain.
I know it's the first baseman, Rafael Palmeiro.
No.
He was their captain.
Pudge Rodriguez? No chance.
A little more recent.
A little more recent than
Am I thinking of the right guy?
Yeah.
He played with Pudge.
Yeah.
Played his career with Pudge.
What do you got? I don't know who.
Michael Young, 2,230 hits.
Oh,
All right. Let's get back on track. Which Rangers center fielder dropped the ball infamously in game 162?
In 2012 against the A's. Because he was drinking so many energy drinks. I mean, obviously this guy has addiction problems, so I'm not making
was it Josh Hamilton?
Correct, Josh Hamilton.
He was drinking so many energy drinks, and from what I read, that's so much caffeine. He was down on those things that he was not getting any type of moisture in his eyes. Like he couldn't blink. Yeah, it was sad.
Prior to 1972, what were the Texas Rangers originally called? So they moved from this place to Texas.
That's right. They were the Washington Senators.
Correct. Okay, so who was the first manager in Rangers history?
He could hit.
Yeah, Hall of Fame hitter.
He could hit.
Yeah.
Yep. Teddy Ballgame.
I believe they lost 100 and
old
something
TSW.
Who was the first Rangers manager to win the Manager of the Year award?
That would be Johnny Oates.
That is correct.
Look at you. My God, you're like Mr. Texas.
Mr. Arlington.
Next thing you know is Know Your Cowboys.
Aside from Jackie Robinson and Nolan Ryan, can you name any of the other retired Ranger uniforms?
Who?
Aside from Jackie Robinson, because he's retired by everyone, and Nolan Ryan.
We were just there for his retirement ceremony.
I would think Pudge Rodriguez for sure has.
That's one. There's 3 others. You already got it. But
we just were there recently for it. Who would have recently had his jersey retired?
Well, Nolan Ryan for sure there, right? I'm obviously right. Nolan's one of them. Who else?
Hall of Fame in late July.
We were just there, right? Oh yeah. We were. Yeah, it's meeting in the Hall of. He was in the Hall of. He got. Geez, are you kidding me right now? This is ridiculous.
Got like 97% of the vote. What did you get?
Yeah, all these guys the one guy you haven't mentioned yet, who you're thinking of. The other 2 guys have been mentioned already in these answers.
Michael Young is one of them, right?
That's correct. That's Michael Young.
Yeah, and the Hall of Famer that just got inducted. Oh my God, bro!
I remember as a great Dodger.
Red Sox also.
Oh, Red Sox legend. He had that 1-year prove-it deal.
Yeah. Adrian Beltre, Johnny.
Thank you.
And
Thank
the other retired number is actually 26 for the great Johnny Oates.
I did not know that.
Okay.
All right, 2 more. Which president of the United States was the former owner of the Rangers?
George W. Bush.
I don't know if he was managing general partner. Was he really the owner?
I thought he was the owner.
I think he was like the president.
I'd have to look it up.
Maybe he had a stake in it.
Somebody get Bush in there. All right, last one. I am a current major league broadcaster who worked for both the Rangers and Astros prior to my gig.
Worked for the Astros. Oh, C.J. Nikowski?
Was Astros and then the Rangers, but now has a different job as a broadcaster.
Oh, okay. Astros. Okay.
So broadcaster for Astros, Rangers, and now the job he has now. If I'm asking this, it has something to do with someone you know.
I've never heard of this guy. I have no idea who this guy is.
Wow. Someone get Vince Cotroneo on the phone.
Oh, my God. That's right, Vince. Oh, my God.
Wow.
My brain is that's so bad. Let's keep this between us. Do not tell Vince that.
Edit.
God, mark the tape. Mark the tape.
Mark the tape.
Sorry, Vinny. Vinny, I'm sorry. Oh.
Well, you did pretty well, actually. You said
it was awful.
The Vince question was a trick one. I threw. If I didn't throw the Astros in there, it might have been a little easier because I threw that by Ray yesterday, and Ray said the same thing. He goes, "Oh, you're gonna throw Johnny off with the Astros in there." So you did a nice job, though. You knew a lot of. I'm impressed.
Thank you. Thanks, buddy.
So we got the Cubs tomorrow. We already didn't know your Cubs, so we don't have to worry about that one.
I'll have a pick to click.
Okay, yeah.
Well, the pick to click matters now because these are lineups. By the way, I have a prediction. Wyatt Langford will have some type of poster or bobblehead where he'll have 6 shooters and Spurs on.
You think?
Oh, does that not fit perfectly for the Wyatt Langfords?
Yeah, that's a great name. Great name.
And then Cody brought up if they can only trade for Walker Buehler.
Right? Exactly.
We have Wyatt. We had the WW Wyatt and Walker on the Rangers.
No doubt. I love it.
We start a show on Hulu.
Right?
Or a whiskey. All right, buddy. You have a good call. We'll be listening.
All right. Thanks, fellas. Love you guys.
Wow.
So I send the timestamp to Vince?
No, do not. Vince is golfing probably. Do not. Let's just act like that never happened. What was the question?
How'd I phrase it?
I broadcast games next to you, and I work for the Rangers and the Astros. Is that the question?
I'm a current major league broadcaster who worked for both the Astros and the Rangers.
Oh, that's.
Well, I said prior to my current gig. No, you're Vince Cotroneo.
That is not as easy as you think because you're just thinking. You just said name me some random ass broadcaster that worked for the Rangers and the Astros.
Well, I threw it by the Karate Kid yesterday. He knew it in the first guess. I get it though. I mean, it could have been a lot of people.
Could have been a lot. How many guys have worked for the Rangers and the Ryan family? Reed Ryan's worked for both.
Yeah.
Nolan's worked for both. The wife Ruth, the great Ruth Ryan of the Ryan family. I mean, how many people have been like broadcasters for both?
I don't think CJ's ever did the Astros.
And technically, I don't. You know what? And technically, I don't think Vince did. Did Vince do play-by-play for them? I know he did pre and post. Did he do play-by-play? He probably did.
For the Rangers?
No, for the Astros.
Oh, that's a great question. I just remember knowing where he worked for the Astros.
I mean, when I think Houston Astrodome, I think Vince Cotroneo. Not the Houston Oilers or the old Houston Astros, I think. Or the what was the big thing they always had there? The bull something. They always had the bullfights.
The rodeo?
Not the bullfights. That's Tijuana. They always had the rodeo, the big rodeo.
I was because I know the rodeo is big in San Antonio.
I've been to bullfights in Tijuana multiple times. That's classic, by the way.
So I think we're getting pretty close to. We don't have any more know your whoever because I think we played everyone already. So we play the Cubs tomorrow, and then on Friday we play. I have it right here.
We could do know your carries.
Friday we play the Reds. So we already did.
We should play know your carries with Chris. See if he knows his own family history. He would have had a better shot than know your D-backs. He was awful. All right, know your family.
Did we do know your Reds? I think we did. Yeah, we did, because there was Johnny Bench and Joe Morgan questions. Yeah, we did that already, Johnny. So, yeah, we've done it all. Rangers were the last one.
Only guy ever to throw back-to-back no-hitters.
Oh, Van something. His last name was Van something. Johnny Vandermeer.
Johnny Vandermeer. Still one of the great feats.
I mean, back to back. I mean, we're like if we get a guy that does it once anymore.
Name me the last guy in Major League Baseball to go back-to-back complete games.
Sandy Alcantara. I don't know.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Back-to-back complete games.
Hold on, before we still got like 2 minutes. Let me see if Sandy did it, because he was always the guy we're like, oh, he went 8 innings last night. Now Sandy's out for the year. Let's pull up. What year did he have a bunch of complete games? He had 6 in 2022. So let's see if
6.
Let's see if he
did that lead baseball.
Of course it did.
Oh my God!
Come on, there were teams that didn't even have 6 complete games.
We didn't have one we haven't had one. When's the last time we had one?
Didn't
Mike Fiers?
No, didn't Bassitt throw one against the Mariners?
We didn't have one last year. And we didn't have one the year before, right?
No, I think it would have been like 21, maybe we had one. I'll have to look. Sandy did not. He had a couple 8 and 9 back-to-backs, but never 2 back-to-back complete games.
Did we have one in 01?
Let me see. What was
that?
This?
Was a shortened season.
No, 2021 was a full season.
No, it wasn't. We had a lockout, didn't we?
No,
what year was the lockout?
But we still played 162.
Do we have a complete game?
I want to say I think we had one, and it was Bassitt. No, we had several.
Whoa.
2 by Mania, 1 by Bassitt.
We had 3.
Unless one of them was a 7-inning no-hitter or 7-inning complete game. I know Bassitt had a.
So have we gone 2 straight years without a complete game?
I'd have to pull up last year real quick. I don't think Cole Irvin ever went all 9. We did not have one in 2022. No.
And there's no way we had one last year.
I don't think.
No way.
Do we have anyone come close?
No. Mason Miller.
Mason Miller, that's probably about it.
Searsy, did Searsy get into the 9th? I don't think he did.
I don't think so either. We did not have one. So our last one was 2021.
We've gone 2 straight years without a complete game. Come on, Emo. We got to get a complete game this year. Somebody go the distance.
Yeah.
Seriously. Save the bullpen on today. All right. Are we at 1:10 or 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock. So
all righty.
Boog Shambi tomorrow.
Boog. He was at the party I didn't get to talk to him.
He's tomorrow, talk about the Cubs. He was doing college basketball. If you want to get into NCAA basketball, just saying. A lot of things you could do with Boog. All around baseball we could do with him.
He does hoops?
He was doing Big 12, I think, last week. Yeah. I texted him last week, and he said he couldn't do it last week. He wanted to do it this week because of basketball.
All right. The great Boog Shambi will be on tomorrow. Enjoy Rangers and A's. This is at their yard, right?
Correct, yeah.
Rangers and the world champs against the Oakland Athletics next right here on A's Cast. We'll see everybody tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, join your team this spring in Mesa. With nonstop flights direct from Oakland, there's never been a better time to head to the Southwest. Surrounded by the stunning Sonoran Desert, spring training fans know why Arizona is the perfect spring break escape. Miles of trails, shoreline, and sunshine combined for an unforgettable Arizona adventure. There's simply no shortage of things to do, see, and discover in Mesa. Get your visitor's guide at visitmesa.com.
This has been a presentation of the Oakland Athletics.